One of our biggest goals coming over to New Zealand was to look at some trucks, talk to some truckers, find out about what trucking is like over here in New Zealand, and I think I've managed to do that. How's it going? How are you?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Good.
Come on through.
We're over at TR Group, and this is John Essex. He is the senior driver trainer here at TR Group in Christchurch, and he's going to show us around.
Good one.
Now you're going to be quiet? We couldn't get him to shut up yesterday.
I've just got to learn how to speak your language now, because you speak my language, English, because English is always the top language in the world.
We just do it better.
We teach you to spoke right. This is the old picture of the tanker. I haven't got one of the new one, but that's that tanker I was telling you about, the rollover.
This is the one that has the training wheels on it. Now, tell me about this picture.
Basically, what we've got is changed the truck now in the colour scheme, because that's the driver now part of TR Group. But this particular case, we've got it's got all the electronics on it. It's got EBS braking, roll stability, all that sort of stuff. But we can switch it on and off from the cab. And what we do is we take them around. The thing weighs around 32 tonne, and it's partly filled with water. And what we do is, when the racetrack, we switch the electrics off first, just to show them how easy it is to roll a truck. Now, that particular time I was driving on that one, but it was up in the North Island in Taupo, and I was doing 45 k's an hour. That's all I was doing. I went around a corner, and we replicate that they've stuffed it up somewhere along the line, whereby they've taken their eye off the road, and next thing they look up and the road's gone that way and they're still going this way. So the natural progression from there is to say, oh shit,
to overcorrect
and go like this and go full on. And that really is the byproduct of that, particularly if it's you're going a lot quicker speed. The outriggers, there's one there and there's another one on the other side. Big thing with it is drivers have no idea whatsoever that thing's left the ground. Not until this happens, when this drive axles come off the ground, and suddenly the rev counter goes right up and over she goes. The outrigger obviously just stops it going all the way over, but half the time we may not get the outrigger to hit the ground. It did on this case. It may not hit the ground, but the whole lot is still off the ground.
Right.
And then we do the same both sides. And then we take them round, and now we switch in all the electronics. And what happens then is the roll stability and the EBS braking will figure that the stability is coming up, and straight away it will check brake individual wheels, all right, to bring it straight back down again. So what happens is you get some guys where it goes up and suddenly the brakes come on, pulls it down again, and then they have to slug away. And it's been known that some idiots around the place, it's illegal to do it, but they'll actually unplug the EBS because they find they're going into some corners and they say, oh, I've driven around that corner hundreds of times, thousands of times, and I've never had a rollover. Now I'm doing the same speed and it's pulling me back. All right, but then we say to them, here's how close you were to putting it over, because you've got no sensation the trailer's lifting.
Right.
And now it's pulling back, and some of the guys will unplug it so that the EBS won't work, and then suddenly they find they're on their side.
Now, what happens in a case like that? In the United States, it's each state that governs everybody's driver's license, and over here it's a national license, correct? So, do you call it a CDL, a commercial driver's license over here? Is it the same thing?
No, just say go on, just classes.
Classes?
So that's a class 5 vehicle.
So class 1 license is a person who's driving a car, all the way up to a class 5, which is
class
the biggest.
2 is a small truck with 2 axles, a delivery truck. A class 3 is a small combination. It'd be like a single drive tractor unit with a single axle on a semi, all right? And then you get class 4, which is anything that's still a rigid truck, no trailer, that's got more than 2 axles. So like the test I've just done out there on the guy, he was in a 3-axle truck, so it's a class 4 vehicle. And then class 5 is anything to do with trailers.
So on a national level, on a state level, if we do something like that, we got caught messing with safety equipment and there was an incident, we lose our driving privilege completely. And there could also be criminal charges. Yeah. Is that the same thing over here?
Same sort of thing, maybe slightly different in some ways, but it's normal. You still get the normal things that anyone, whether they're driving a car or a class 5, would still get the speed in and all those sort of things. If a truck, say for instance, there was a case, actually I was just talking to the driver I've just tested, and we had a case here where a driver in a class 5 truck with a full load on it was going on to go onto the loop road, to go onto the expressway. He was following a car, and in the car was an old lady. He went round the corner as they're coming round onto the loop road where you wouldn't expect anyone to stop. She just hit the brakes and stopped. And he was too close, went over the top, killed her. And they tried to work out why she stopped, and what it was, they feel it There was a mother duck there with all little ducklings behind it on the side of the road. So she obviously thought, if they come on the road, I'm going to kill them. So she hit the brakes. Now the driver got charged with careless use causing death because his following distances weren't right. So straight away he lost his license for a year and a day, which means he's got to reset his licenses.
Right.
Anything over a year, you've got to
Means he has to he needs to go through his class 2, class 3, class 4, and it's a progression through.
Yeah.
So we can just go, class A is for a combination vehicle, or what we drive, the straight truck, is a class B, and I have class A, but with air brake endorsement, you can just jump right to an A and test for an A. You don't have to get your class B first.
Oh yeah, you do.
Not in the United States.
In the United States. Oh yeah. No,
We can go straight to the top of the line, and here there's a progression where you have to go through each stage of it and learn everything as you go along.
Same as Europe.
Okay.
They do the same thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Actually, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, and that's what we call Department of Transportation decides whether or not it's an avoidable accident.
Yeah.
And it goes on your record as we have a CSA, which is your safety rating that follows you credit rating.
Yeah.
And if you have an accident, it's whether or not it was avoidable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you, actually, I've got a thing I can give you that's got videos of all this.
Oh yeah.
I'll just grab it.
We're going to show you a little bit about this.
So you can see how it's lifting there. See the outrigger's just touched the ground there. We have the rest of the guys on the course. We have them following in a ute so they can see it from behind. There's one of our instructors. It's frightening when you do. And you can't see it, but it's actually at a slight slope. And at the top of the skid pan, they've got these water outlets. And they put water out with a little bit of detergent mixed in, and it just flows down on the thing. And when you get a lot of guys and they go into corners and they may have to hit the brakes or something like this, and knowing when a jackknife or a trailer swing's happening, so they're two different things. Everyone calls where a trailer comes around a jackknife, but it's not necessarily. A jackknife's when the drive axle's
When the cab meets the piece of trailer.
But if it's just a trailer coming around, it's a trailer swing. Right. And I came down onto this pad. They didn't tell me about this at the time. I came down and started going around a left-hand bend, and he said, "Where's your trailer?" So automatically I looked in my left-hand mirror, so that's the way I'm going. It would cut in, no trailer. And I looked in the right hand, and the whole thing's coming round on me. And we had anti-jackknife chains on there, and suddenly the truck just lurches as these chains just tighten up. Causes hell with the chassis on the tractor and all this sort of stuff. They usually have to get them realigned. But it's really just to show how in wet roads like that, how a slight touch of a brake or an accelerator can get things out of kilter. It's really quite spectacular when it happens. But
I've seen the conditions of the roads, especially on the South Island over here, and
I like this because I look taller.
we can work on that. All right, there we go. Here, we'll give you a little bit. How's that? So my question is this. In the winter driving, which I know you have winter conditions because I experienced them in the middle of summer, you have to deal with black ice, right?
Yeah.
You saw the video where Elon Musk came out with the automated truck and everything. And I did a video about it, the autonomous truck. He said in the video that it's jackknife proof. Do they have the technology to...
Well, if they have, I've never heard about it.
We have in Wyoming, it's the worst stretch of road, one of the worst stretches of road in winter. It shuts down all the time. I lost a truck there in my first business endeavor in trucking. And black ice is very unforgiving. If you don't know what you're doing, but he said in the video, it's jackknife proof. You cannot jackknife the truck.
I can't see that happening.
I mean, they can cinch up, it's got where it can cinch up and completely eliminate the air gap, which is nice, you know. But I just like, anything that's, as soon as somebody tells me it's something proof, it can eliminate it completely, I'm skeptical.
It's a little bit like where we talked about the roll stability and the EVs.
Right.
They won't stop a rollover. If a guy really wanted to roll it over, it will roll, irrespective.
Or if he's just an idiot, or if he has a stroke while he's driving.
All it's doing is giving a better chance of surviving it.
Right.
If you're not having a rollover.
Now, you say EBS. What's the difference between EBS and ABS?
ABS is where the brakes pulse. Right. If they lock, they'll unlock themselves and pulse. So the wheel's going like that.
Right.
Okay. What EBS does, it actually applies different air pressures to different wheels at different times. As one wheel might be locking up, it'll release that one, all right, and then bring in the others. And it'll pick up what load it's got on it, the weight on it, and it'll distribute the braking as well based on weight. So it's the wheel movement and the brake and the downward pressure. So it's far better than EBS does incorporate ABS. They've still got it, right? It's still part of the package, but then you get on top of that again, you get roll support. And what roll support does, it picks up when the sideways force is going into it. Again, the EBS will click in and it'll break individual wheels and bring it straight back down again.
One of the things that's not along those same lines, but it is a safety feature that has introduced in the past couple of years, and now it's coming out pretty regularly, is your lane indicators. So if you start to move out of the lane, it starts giving you an indicator that you're leaving your lane.
Yeah.
If there's somebody in your blind spot, there's somebody blind spot indicators and things like that. Is that stuff that's also...
It's just coming in here now. The latest Mercedes, you can have that as an option on. The Volvos have got the same.
Which is Daimler, so they're doing the Freightliners over there in the Western Stars.
That's right,
and stuff. So we're seeing that already implemented. But I think there's only 2 lanes on most of the roads, especially on the South Island. I don't know what the North Island
It's only
is.
2% of our roads are motorways.
Only 2%.
Only 2%.
That's crazy. Most of our interstates, we do intercity driving, which is still mostly 4-lane roads.
Yeah.
And once you get on highways, we get the interstates like the I-40, which we have become very intimate with. We know it very well. Depending on which state and what speed limit you go, you get into states like you said that you did a drive from San Diego to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And in the state of California, trucks travel one speed, cars travel another. Same thing over here.
Yeah.
But that's only in that state. And it's very drastic. It's 20 miles per hour difference. 15 miles per hour.
55 and 70.
55 and 70,
Yeah.
in most places. And Chicago has some of the same things, and Illinois has the same things. And the problem that we find with that, with so many trucks on the road, is they're zipping in and out. They're passing us, and they're making these crazy maneuvers in and out of trucks. And it just amazes me as a commercial driver how much people don't value their own lives. They don't understand what it takes to stop one of these trucks. And I've seen it over here. It's the same thing. Do they find that a high percentage of accidents that are investigated are the cause of the car between a truck and a...
Yeah, they very much do that. At the moment, and it's been like this for 10, 15 years, it's usually 3/4 or just over 3/4 of crashes involving cars and trucks, the car driver was at fault.
We're pushing 91% in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see the statistics and everything, but it doesn't matter. If you're involved in an accident as a commercial driver in the United States, it's on your record, whether it's your fault or not. Whether you killed a family and you had nothing to do with it, there was nothing you could have done to avoid it, it still follows you forever.
I think one of the big things that came out over the years when I've been involved in training and being an ex-driver as well was we studied fatigue management now for drivers. And I was lucky enough to do a course with a lady called Professor Philippa Gander. She's a Kiwi girl, but she worked for NASA on the space program, on the shuttles, the fatigue, and she worked for the aerospace, in aircraft and all that in the States, looking at pilots' fatigue. And now she's back in New Zealand now and does a lot of study in
probably the FAA.
Trucks. Yeah. And she was saying that in the States at the time, that around 50% of crashes involving truck drivers, where the truck driver was at fault, were fatigue related.
Oh, I believe that.
And at that stage, we only had 4% in New Zealand. And I was thinking, you're not telling me that an American is 58 or 48% more tired than a Kiwi girl. It's just that in those days, we didn't investigate them. So there was just a crash. Yep, you were wrong, blah, blah, blah. Get the truck back up.
No
get it
details,
away, and away you go.
no statistics.
Well, now they're studying it. And now it's gone up to 40-odd%. And every time I run a course on driver fatigue, I get at least one person in the room that will come to me at the end and say, look, I think I've got a problem with this. What do I do? And it just goes on. But you've got to think as well, like in your case, in the States, where a lot of your roads are freeways and all that sort of stuff and main highways, there are not many bends like we've got here. Here, it's less forgiving because of the type of roads we're on.
Right.
State Highway 1, you've seen it here.
Absolutely.
If you see, it's closed at the moment, but the one up through Kaikoura, that road, you barely get 2 trucks past each other. And some of the places, there's one area called the Iron Gate Bridge, and it ran out. We're hoping it's been blown up with what's happened, because to get 2 trucks through, they have to call each other on the CBs each side, and one truck goes over and then the other. But if you've got a truck that hasn't got a CB in there, you've got a problem. You meet him halfway, and it's a sheer drop.
So you're dealing with a lot of infrastructure problems as well as the United States, except that you have 4.5 million people in 2 islands, and we have 323 million people over one of the largest land masses in the world. And we use it. We use almost every corner of it.
Yeah, why not?
There's a lot of empty space in the middle, but there's towns, there's big cities.
Yeah. I'll do a bit of a plug for our company on this because
No, absolutely.
TR Group, we're the largest
I already did that.
Yeah, truck leasing and rental company in the country. A brilliant company to work for, and they got very high standards.
Now, if somebody in the States wants to come over here and they'd like to give it a try and they'd like to come over, they have a commercial driver, they have to go through their training regiment and everything. Are there minimums?
Yeah, you can. I'd have to double check it for the States, but I should imagine it'd be the same as UK. But you can run around on your American license
Right.
for up to a year for cars. But I just have to double check as far as what it is for the trucks. You may have to just do a test just in the Class 5 vehicle, which is our largest.
If you are interested, I'm going to put an email to John down in the description. If you're interested in maybe coming over to New Zealand and driving maybe on a working holiday for a year, which a lot of people do,
And
which
like
is how you
guys,
ended up here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I'll put his email down in the description below. And I think that's something that would be really cool for you to come to New Zealand and see how they do it over here. And it's a different world. It's all the same respect between truckers.
Oh,
it seems
yeah.
like where we go, it's like
Very much
almost
so.
like a brotherhood
Yep.
or sisterhood.
Seen that picture? That's Kangaroo Forest in the North Island, which is the largest man-made forest in the world. And the trucks, that truck's what we call a stems truck, where they cut the limbs off the trees, but then they just carry them like that on it's a private road, and they turn off into the mills, different mills that are inside the forest. And all the road signs are on springs, because when they turn, the back end swings round, catches the signs, knocks them over, and then as soon as he pulls away, it bounces back up again. And a guy was going along, and another stems truck came the other way, and he called him up, and he said, "Geez," he said, "that car's close up behind you, isn't it?" He said, "What car?" He said, "There's a car right at your ass." And he said, "What?" And then another one went past, called him on the CV, "There's a car behind you." So he pulled in, and there was that car had gone straight up the back end of the stems truck.
And
There
he
was
was
three-
carried down the road.
Yeah, there was 3 Maori boys inside there that were whiter than I am, so they got out, and yet none of them were hurt.
I'm going to see if we can see this.
So imagine getting dragged down the road by this and being inside the car.
It's not a joke.
I don't know if I'd ever get in a car again.
Hey, thanks for watching the video. I hope that you found some information that you could use. If you're interested in more videos like this, check out this video right here. And if you're interested in expediting or trucking, or you have any questions, make sure you check out the link below.